What if I were to tell you that eating could be just as sacred and or holy as the union of marriage? Eating could be just as sacred or holy as the union of marriage. Well, that's exactly what I'm telling you. In this latest edition of Hot Second Hebrew, our word today is achal. Achal, which means to eat. Confused? Don't worry. I'll try to clear it up a little bit. שלום לכם, אנשים טובים וברוכים הבאים לערוץ הקטן שלי היום. Today, we're going to cover the hot second Hebrew word achal, which means to eat. Okay, so you do know, if you are familiar with my channel, that I do have videos that cover cognates and roots of words, okay, cognates. And in this particular case, in our word achal, we have at its root and as a cognate, we have kaf and lamed. Kaf and lamed. If you think right off the top of your head and you are familiar with Hebrew, you can think of quite a few words that are spelled with kaf and lamed. For example, kol, which means all, okay, or whole. It carries a connotation of whole. I can't get all of the letters into the screen, but how about the word kli, which can be a thing, an instrument, or a vessel. As a matter of fact, most of the instruments that are used in the Mishkan, written in the Tanakh, they are assigned the word kli. They're assigned the word kli. What else? Let's cover a few of those words. Let's kind of make this an amalgamated cognate slash hot second Hebrew. Okay, so we also have the word klal. Klal. We have the word klal, which again means entirely or entirety or whole. Okay, entirety or whole. Okay, there's klal. Of course, we have the word tachlit. You'd have to be really familiar with the language to be familiar with this one. But tachlit means end, consummation, okay, sof, siyum. It can be the end, or that can be negative and or positive, the completion or the whole of something. Keep that in mind, completion and or the whole of something. Here's one that'll get you. How about kala? Kala. So those that are familiar with Hebrew will see right away, David, what are you doing with two lameds in the word kala? Well, typically you see kala, which means bride, by the way, bride, right? You have hatan, which is the groom, and you have kala, which is the bride. So you have a kaf. Usually you see it, or normally as a kaf, lamed with a dagesh inside, meaning it's a double lamed and a hey. But I just doubled up the lamed for effect. So kala is a bride. When someone marries a bride, his goose is cooked. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to get in trouble for that. She completes him. He completes her. They are consummated. They are one, right? Basar echad. They become one flesh. So now think back to the days of the Brit Chadashah in that era, right? The big deal going on was meat sacrificed to idols. Don't eat meat sacrificed to idols. Why? Well, and the meat was laid on the altars of the Poseidon, Athena, Zeus, Bruce Almighty, or whoever else was back in those days, the statues or whatever. And then that meat was eaten by the families. It's a sacrifice to an idol, meaning that I belong to this idol. This idol is my husband. And therefore, I follow the rules of this husband. You'll also note that in the Brit Chadashah, the Apostle Paul, or Rav Shaul, as some people call him, he equates sexual sin with idolatry. Sexual sin with idolatry. Now, if you think about that, we know that in those pagan temple practices, people went to do more than sacrifice meat to the idols, and they took that meat home, but they also, hooked up in these places as well too. So it all went hand in hand. So with Kala, which I erased by the way, and I didn't intend to, Kala, which is a bride, right? Kala, which is a bride, in marriage, one is supposed to be a person or persons of fidelity. Fidelity, no cheating, no stepping outside of the marriage. This is sacred. They are one. Basar echad, they are one flesh. This is the way that it's supposed to be. How about another hint? How about the very difficult words of Yeshua, right? When he says that you must eat my flesh and drink my blood. Now, he didn't mean literally, but he was speaking of a form of consummation. Some people do communion, or for others, don't trigger here. Some will do, as Yeshua said in the Brit Chadashah, however often they have the bread and the wine, to do it in memory of him, right, and of the agreement of the Brit Chadashah, the agreement, the pact between the bride and the husband, the bride and the husband. If you don't get it quite yet, let me end with this one that's very different. So, of all the times that the word to eat in its root form is used, none is more strange than this particular word, ma'achelet, ma'achelet, ma'achelet. So, David, I can see Aleph, Kaf, and Lamed. I know it has something to do with food and or eating, achal, eat, ochel, food, le'echol, to eat. So what is it? Well, you have to look back in the book Bereshit in chapter 22, verse 10, and it says the following, Vayishlach Avraham et yado, vayikach et ha'ma'achelet lishhot et beno. So, Vayishlach Avraham et yado, and Abraham sent his hand, vayikach et ha'ma'achelet, and he took the knife, lishhot et beno, to slay his son. Now, out of all of the words that could be used for a knife, okay, why would the Torah use a word like ma'achelet, which I believe only happens twice in the entirety of Torah? Well, there is commentary out there that says that it was used almost euphemistically, in a sense, all right, as a remez or a clue, saying that because of the act of Abraham, Israel and its descendants would eat forever, would eat forever. And of course, we know that Yitzchak's, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, is symbolic. It is a ripple, Gizrat Shava. It's a ripple with foreshadowing of a greater sacrifice that would come much later. And in fact, the bread of life would come out of the loins of Isaac, and Israel and all who wants to come home with Israel would indeed and are eating and will eat for forever. You can hear more about this particular word in some of the commentary over the ages with respect to this word ma'achelet. So when people cry that only messianic types, or those who believe in Yeshua as Messiah, refer to this in a messianic way, not so. You get an opportunity, look up Saadia Gaon, Saadia, next word, Gaon. He has something very interesting to say about the Akedah and the binding of Isaac, okay? So you are what you eat, and what your husband commands that you eat, okay, that's what you should eat, because your body is the temple of the Most High. Did you not know that your body is the temple of the Most High? So there is a separation bein kodesh lehol, between the sacred and the profane, bein or lehoshech, between darkness and light, and between tahol, pure, and tameh, between that which is clean and unclean. So, yes, what you do put in your body in keeping the word of the Most High and following Torah is very important. Okay, it's very important. It's very important. Eating is consummation. Putting a ring on it is also uh, consummation. He who has an ear, let him hear. You'll hear more about this particular word in the commentary in the upcoming video called Yir'eh. Oh, I'm sorry, Jireh. That'll be coming up really soon. Okay, I will ask as always, if my humble offering has been a blessing to you in any type of way, please prayerfully consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until the next time, everybody, I'll see you soon.